Everybody, Nick Dingle here again for the VB.NET 2013 tutorial series. In this video we're going to go through what is a string, what is the difference between a string and a literal string, and then a hell of a lot of functions to do with strings and a property including. This particular program that sits in front of me, we've got a command which is writeLine, which we know by now writes to the screen, and we've got readLine, which has got a couple of uses. But if we use it like this, it simply pauses our program until the user presses the enter key. So realistically, this part here, we haven't really talked about, this red text, or maroon, whatever color you want to call that really. Basically, this is what you call a literal string. And the idea is a literal string is something that does not change when you run the program. So a string itself is a series of characters, and it could be anything. It can be letters, it can be numbers, it can be symbols. And then a literal string as this one. If I run my program 1 billion times, that string is not going to change. It's just going to say hello world every single time. Okay? If I modify that, it's still a literal string. It's just a different looking literal string. Okay? Now if we extend upon this, if we make a variable, which is the data type of string, so if I go dim s as a string, the idea is I've made a variable called s, and I've said that it's a data type string. So we know right now, and even that tooltip tells us, it's text. Okay, it's a string of text, and it's really good because strings, you're not limited to just letters or a word or just a sentence. You're actually not limited very much in modern programming languages. A string can almost be an entire book if you want the thing to be. Okay, that's a rough explanation, but it could be. All right, another way of this here is an empty string at the moment. If I wanted to put a value in it, we could go equals hello world. Alright, let me just get rid of this one, and I'm going to put s in there instead. So this here is the literal string. This here is the variable, which is of the type string. Okay, so that means I can put strings inside of s, and I can change them around. So this one here will never change. Okay, it will always be hello world. That's why it's called a literal string. Okay, and when we start interacting with the user, if they choose what goes inside that string, it's not considered a literal string if it changes. So if I press start, okay, my program says hello world because it prints my string to the screen, which is hello world, and then we hit the read line, so it pauses. I press enter and it closes our program. Alright, this is our starting point for the video. Let's start going through some of the commands and the property that I mentioned before. First of all, let's just say, in particular, let's start with the property because there's only one of them that I want to demonstrate, and that is, let's say we want to know how long our string is. Now, because I'm using a literal string, okay, I know how long that is. Okay, I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters long. Okay, let's say, for instance, that it's not a literal string. Let's say the user picks it. Okay, so we're going to use our readLine it here, and because I like to be polite to the user, let's give them a message. Enter a string for us. Okay, so we'll write to the screen, enter a string for us, and then we'll accept the string with readLine. We remember it inside of s, and all we're doing right now is we're spitting out the string back at them. Okay, so I'm going to put a comment up here, get the string from the user, the sir apparently, and then finally let's do some stuff to the string. Okay, and this is where we're going to start introducing some of our properties and functions. But for the moment, let's have a look at what this does. Okay, enter a string for us. Hello everyone, welcome to VB.NET. And right now it's just spitting back at us, and it's pausing because of the read line. Stop the program, and we're good to go. So let's say, for instance, I don't know how long that string is going to be. Okay, I typed in, hello everyone, welcome to VB.NET. Well, I really don't know how long that string might be. Now, if you ever want to access these properties or commands for the string, you just put a dot after like with anything. Okay, and we get a whole list of all these crazy ones. Alright, now I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to put in another writeLine. Just here. Whoop. Oh my gosh. writeLine. Okay, and I'm going to stick to the common tab today because there's a lot less than the all tab, and in fact a lot of these I've never really even used, so I'm going to stick to common for the moment. Now having a look at these, I explained in the second video that all the purple boxes are commands and the little spanner is a property. So I said that there's only one property we're going to look at, and this is the one we will have a look at, which is length. So if we ever need to know how many characters are in a string, use your variable name .length. I'll just keep it short. Hello everyone. Tells me there's 14 characters, and that will update. If I type in nothing, it tells me there's 0, which is perfect. Okay, and that's how we get the length of a string. Okay, sometimes that's really useful, and you can use it anywhere you want. You just can't change. You can't say length equals 50, because that just doesn't make sense. And it actually is read-only. It's set up that way by Microsoft. Okay, let's start with some of these commands, and there's a lot of them. We've got about 15 to go through, or maybe 14. So let's start with the simplest ones. Let's say, for instance, we have our string. And we want to know, we're going to go in alphabetical order. We want to know if that string contains a specific word. Okay, this is really handy if you want to find swear words or if you want to find keywords in a sentence. Okay, you can start with, you can even find out if they have a certain letter. You can even find out if they have multiple letters. All right, so if I just double click on contains, I've got to open a bracket, and it tells us we want a value, and there's actually 3 ways we can use this. It says 1 of 3 here. So first of all, I can send it another string. So let's have a look at that. Let's see if our sentence contains the word hello, because I keep using that word. All right, and this should return true or false if hello is contained. And by the way, I'm going to update my write lines so it's a bit more obvious what I'm doing, because there's going to be so many of these commands and properties. I'm going to put a little explanation in front. So I'm going to go length of string, and we put a concatenate after that if we want to join them together. If you're going to have a literal string and then a variable, you need to concatenate. Then I'm going to go contains hello, just like so. Let's zoom out a little bit. I hope you can still see. And basically, this is going to tell us true or false if our sentence contains the word hello. So let's play that. Hello everyone. And it says contains hello, true, which is perfect. Run it again, and just go goodbye everyone. And it doesn't contain hello, so it says false. Right? Now, the one thing to note about this too is this is case sensitive, which means that if I type in hello everyone again, but I leave that capital off, it's going to tell me it doesn't contain that word. All right? And that's its specific design, okay? You can get around that, but we'll do that at a later point. Okay, the next command let's have a look at is called ends with. All right? Let's choose the word goodbye for whatever reason. And the idea of this, of ends with, it determines whether the end of the string matches the specified string. So it's similar to contains, but the idea would be that if the string ends in a certain fashion, okay, it tells you true or false if it ends with that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a look if it ends with the word goodbye. So let's double click on that, open a bracket, and send the word goodbye in those brackets. Okay, let's have a go at that. Type in hello everyone. So it contains hello, doesn't contain goodbye. So let's run it again and just make sure it works. Everyone, goodbye. And it does. It ends with goodbye. So it's a quick little way that you can just check if the string ends with something. All right, the next one, which is probably a little bit more interesting, is called index of. And what this will do is it will get the position which a word starts. So this one here is really, really handy if we have swear words in a sentence and we need to remove them. But because I don't want to swear in a video, I'm going to put something like poodle. Okay, so I'm looking for the word poodle in my string. Why? Because I can. Okay, so here it is. And what it does, all right, is it will return a number at which that word begins. All right, so if I put poodle inside that command, give it a go. Okay, enter a string for us. Everyone loves poodles. Alright, here's the interesting part. Okay, it doesn't contain hello, it doesn't end with goodbye, but we get an index of poodle is 15. So what this means is the 15th spot in this string is where poodles begin, or poodle I should say. Now, you might be looking at this, so let's count the letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 is where poodle starts. What that actually is because what we're actually getting is what's called the index. Okay, that's why the function's called the index of. Alright, and it begins at the position 16. However, an index starts at 0. So this capital E would be the number 0. So we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 15. Alright, and that tells us when poodle begins. Okay, so that's probably the most interesting part, is that it tells you the position of the word. It's only a one shot. If I had a sentence with multiple poodles, so if I go, poodles are really poodle-like, it's only going to tell me that poodle begins at 0. It doesn't tell me that it also begins down this point here. Right? We have to do a little bit of a different usage if we want to do that. So basically, we can send it what's called a start index. So if we want to skip over one that we know that exists and go to the next one, you can specify the starting point. All right. So if you want to skip over the first word, you could use the number 6 to start at the 6th position and move through it. All right. But I'm not going to go through that. I'm only showing you the basic uses for this one. Let's say for the next command, you want to add a little bit to your string. You've got a word and you want to insert it somewhere. You actually use this insert function. All right. What do we want to insert? Let's insert a poodle. Why not? Okay. You can do s.insert. All right. And what do we want to insert? It asks you two things: where you want to start and what you want to insert. Okay. You don't have any other options for this. You have to give it a number and then give it a word, or a sentence, or a letter. All right. So let's say, for instance, I want poodle to begin, let's say, at the very beginning. I always want poodle at the beginning, remembering that the first position of a string is 0. All right. So at 0, insert the word poodle. Okay. I think I'm using poodle a bit much, but oh well. I'm sorry if that confuses you. Let's start the program. Well, what am I doing? Hello, everyone. And then insert becomes poodle. Hello, everyone. Here's the interesting part. Can everyone see this? At this point, there was no poodle in this sentence. There was no word poodle. All right. And so what index of returns is a -1 to indicate that it could not find that word. And that's really important to remember. Later on, we're going to use that. We're going to use that very well. All right. Let's have a look at this next function, which is called the last index of. And you can probably guess it's very similar to this one that we've already used up here. But let's choose a different word. Let's choose hello, okay, because I keep using that word as well. And what it does, instead of giving you just the first position of the word, as it insinuates, if there's multiple occurrences, so if the word hello appears at the start, in the middle, and at the end, it's going to tell us where the last one appears instead of the first one. So it's just the reverse of what we've already done. Okay, last index of hello. Let's keep it capitals. Okay, keep it consistent. All right. So if I run my program, go, hello, everyone. I like to say hello. All right. Down here, last index of hello is 31, so right down the end here, that's the 31st position that it's returned for me, which is fantastic. That's good. Moving along. The next one that we've got is if we needed to remove a part of the string, for instance. Okay. Now, the way this works is it will remove a chunk of the string. It won't. Yeah, there we go. It won't remove a specific word. Okay. If I'm coming back to the example of a swear word filter, because it's actually a really good example when working with strings. There's no such thing as removing a word, okay, with this function. You have to specify what position you want to start removing, and you can also specify what position to start at and how long to go for. So if I say that I want to remove, let's say, the first 10 characters of my string, okay? So just chop them off. I can go, I want to start at 0 and go for 10. All right, and that's going to chop off the first 10 characters of my string. Now, one thing to note too, everybody, is insert doesn't actually put the word poodle inside my string. It just takes a copy of my string and puts the word in there. All right, and what you'll see with this s.remove is that poodle won't ever be acknowledged, okay? Because technically, at this point here, it hasn't added the word poodle at the front. And I'll show you how to do that later on when we have a go at the end. So let's run this program. Let's do a capital H. What am I doing? Hello, everyone. There we go. Remove has taken off the first 10 characters, and if you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we're left with yun, and that's it. So, that's that one done. We're almost about halfway there, everybody, believe it or not. So I'm just going to make a couple of spaces to space this stuff out. All right, next command. Let's say, for instance, we actually did want to replace certain words, and this is where we can start removing words that we don't want in our sentence. So let's say I want to replace all the letter A's with the letter B's. Why? Because we can. So let's use replace. All right, and it asks you what's the old character you want to replace and what's the new character you want to replace. And you can even, there's another version of this where you can send it an old string and a new string. So the idea would be this one here, you can send it one letter, and this one here, you can send it many letters. And in fact, you can send it no letters for the new character if you want. And I'll show you that in a second. So let's say letter A gets replaced with the letter B, just as a quick example. Hello, everyone. What's happening? And there we go. Hello, everyone. What's happening? And there you go. So that's the replace. It replaces every single instance of that word. Now, let's say, for instance, I want to remove whole words from my sentence. Let's say the hello is one that I want to get rid of, and I don't want it replaced with anything. I want it to get rid of that word. So I can actually use a quote mark. Quote mark is an empty string to replace the word with nothing. So, hello everyone. I'm sick of writing hello. And there you go. Everyone, I'm sick of writing. There you go. Pretty much done. So that's the replace function. The next one is a pretty interesting one. This one's called split. All right, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate this very well at the moment, but the idea would be if you've got a string, let's say you've loaded from a text file or something like that, and you've got commas in between all of your words, okay, and you need to split them all up into pieces. You would use the split function to turn your string into an array of strings. Now, I know we haven't covered arrays yet, but I'll quickly show you how the function works. It wants either a character, or you can do a string, or whatever. Like, there's heaps of different options you've got for this one. The simplest way to use this one is you send it what separates all your words. And in this case, I'm going to say it's separated by a space. Okay? And that's all. So what it's going to do is it's going to... No, it's not going to like that. We might skip over split for the moment. Sorry, everyone. We'll come back to that at a later point when we get to files, because that's really, really handy. So just know that split takes your string and then cuts it into pieces based on what you send it. So if you send it a space, like I was about to, every single word would be separated into pieces. And we can put that into an array. And because I haven't gone through arrays, I don't want to go through that in this video. All right, next one starts with, can you guess what that one does? Almost exactly the same thing as ends with, but it looks at the front of the string. So it starts with, and let's say hello. And this simply just gives us a true or a false if that actually happens. Hello, everyone. And there you go. Starts with true. And then we run it again. Goodbye, everyone. And it doesn't start with hello. Whoops. Let me just go. Starts with hello. Okay, we're almost there. We've got 4 more to go. Not 3, 4. Let's go another one. For this function here, this is probably the most powerful one. It's called substring. Let's say we have a string and we want to cut it into pieces. For some reason, we want the middle of the string or the start or the end or anywhere in between. We can use substring together. So what I'm going to do is substring, and I'm going to get the first 5 characters of my string. All right, and that's all. So what you do for this one is you go s.substring, and you pass it two numbers. Okay, the first number being where you want to begin. Okay, and there's actually two ways we can use this. I'll show you the first way, which is simpler, and that is you specify where you want to start, and it'll gather everything else after that spot. So let's say, just ignoring the first 5 characters for a second, let's say if I start at the 7th character, or the 6th position, it's going to get everything else after that. So, hello everyone. So there you go. So ignoring first 5 chars, everything after the 6th spot, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it grabs from that point all the way across. Alright. So let's say we want to get only the first 5 characters. Well, if we want to get that, we want to start at 0, and we want to count the length, we want 5. So hello everyone should turn into just hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. And substring is very, very handy if you're creating your own search functions to try and find pieces of your string and things like that. So it becomes very powerful later on. Okay, I mentioned before that contains is case sensitive. So it's only going to find the word hello if it starts with a capital H. Let's say we want to make our program case insensitive. Okay, now just quickly, this kind of thing, like case sensitivity, is really good for when you're creating password sort of things, okay? Because passwords are case sensitive. However, if you're doing something for a username, okay, if I type in my username nicholas.dingle, realistically, it shouldn't matter if the whole thing is capitals, the whole thing is lowercase. It needs to be case insensitive. And this is where our next function comes in, okay? This is called toLower. And the idea is it takes your entire string, converts every single character to a lowercase one. There it is. I skipped over a function you might have noticed, but it's not useful. You send it to lower, and it takes your entire string and makes every single letter lowercase. So I can go hello everyone, and to lower converts it all to lowercase. Okay. So you might ask, how can you use the contains function, which is case sensitive, and toLower together? Okay, let me quickly show you right here. Okay, and you can do this for any function as well. So let's go case insensitive contains hello. So let's say, for instance, I'm using toLower for this one. So s.toLower. Okay, and after the brackets, if I put another dot, I can actually use the contains function as well. So this will be contains on the lowercase string. So if I just put hello like that, hopefully, doesn't matter what my casing is. So let's go hello everyone. And there you go, case insensitive contains is true. So that's how you make a case insensitive function for a string. Alright, now we're almost done. We've got 2 to go. Second last one is called toUpper, and you can probably guess exactly, hello phone, exactly what this one does. It's almost the same as toLower. Bam! Everything's in capitals. And that's pretty much it. Now, it's personal preference if you want to use the toLower or toUpper to make something case insensitive. Okay, usually I use toUpper. I don't know why, I just do. I just prefer it. Okay, and the last one is trim. What this function does is it takes your string. If there's any spaces on the front or the end, it cuts them off. Doesn't matter how many there are. Okay, so for this example, if I type in space, 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 hello everyone, space, 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 it chops it down, gets rid of all the spaces. So you can see all of our other functions had spaces in it. Trim gets rid of all of them. And guess what, everybody? That is every single function that I wanted to demonstrate for strings. There's no set tasks that I generally get my students to do with this one just yet. That comes later on when we do loops and things like that. If you want to stop the video now and have a go at some of those functions, I suggest you do, because right now I'm going to wipe my code and we're going to have a go at let's say, not a lie detector, a swear word detector, okay, or a filter if you want to call it that. So I'm going to wipe this clean. All right, let's say, again, I don't want to type any swear words on the screen, but if the user types in a swear word, then we want to find it, we want to kill it. Alright, what we're about to write will only work for one swear word at a time. Alright, but again, I'm not going to put swear words, so I'm just going to put something like the word poodle. Let's get rid of all the poodles if we can. So, for instance, we're going to use a couple of functions for this one. The first one would be the index of. We need to find the position of where the word appears, and then we can use the remove function. Okay, that's one way of doing it. The simplest way, and some of you might have already thought of it already, would just be using the replace function. Okay, because the replace goes through the entire string and finds every single one, okay, we can just use that once. So if I go s.replace, what word do I want to find? Well, you guys can type in as many swear words as you want, but I'm going to put poodle, and I want to replace it with nothing. Alright, and then let's write the string to the screen. So realistically, it should get rid of all the poodles. So we write it to the screen, we get rid of the poodle, and then we find what our new string is. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So, some poodles look dumb compared to other poodles. So realistically, I should not have poodle there, and I shouldn't have poodle there. That didn't really work. Alright, so what's actually happened here, everybody, it's similar to what I said with the insert function. The replace function doesn't actually take your string and replace everything about it. What it does is it takes a copy of your string, replaces the word, and gives you back the copy. Now, I'm not doing anything with that copy at the moment. It's just floating off into the ether. All right? To capture the copy, you have to do an equal assignment on the left. So that means we go s equals the replace. So it'll make a copy, remove the poodle word, and then return it and put it back inside of this s. Okay? So, poodles are just dumb. Some look good, but some poodles are not. Alright. So it seems to have worked. Poodle here is gone, left with an S, who cares? That's not the point of this video. But we're left with this. Because it's case sensitive, we're left with the capital P poodles. So, let's introduce again our let's go to upper, because I prefer to upper. Okay, so convert it to an uppercase and then replace all the instances of poodle. Now, because I'm converting it to uppercase, this here needs to be uppercase. Alright, run it. Poodles look funny. Poodle, 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 something, poodle. Not quite the prettiest thing in the world, but you know what? It's sort of done its job. Sort of. Okay? The two uppers are a little bit ugly, but you know what? I want you to try and figure out how you can fix that up. Right? That's not something that I want to demonstrate in this video. If we wanted to replace another word, you'd simply run another replace and almost copy, well, not almost, you pretty much copy just that. And you can replace the word hello, you can replace anything you want as many times as you want. Alright, so that's pretty much it for strings, everybody. I hope that wasn't too long-winded. I hope it actually taught you something and you can use it in your programming. So, happy programming, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. We're going to cover some loops and things of that nature.